Make sure this is recording. We watch after Thanksgiving. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Sleep well. No, you're good, you're good. I just asked when we should start. I'm just gonna start now.
I think right now would be great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you guys see my screen? I want to make sure it's clear. Yep, okay, good, good. Um, all right. Yeah, I've also been using this new tool, by the way, NFT Flip, which is pretty solid. I'm hoping to get Magma pass holders all access for it because I like it better than Nerds. I've been using it more.
What would it take to get us access to it? Because it looks dope.
Well, I got all my, well, not all, like 65 people in my community access, and then I asked him, um, I mean, what, if he would be down to get Magma pass holders access, because right now they're super early. So I think, I mean, they mainly just want to give people access to use it and get more people to know about the tool. So I mean, it looks like they were down to do it just for free, just give people access to get more people,
I
eyes
think
on the
that's the
site.
play, right? We're seeing all of these other projects that have already mooned to like 2 ETH, 3 ETH because of their utility.
Yeah,
But there's a bunch of new projects coming out with with stuff that's with stuff that's just as useful
hmm
as anything else.
yeah, I agree. It's solid, yeah. I really like it. All right. See, I'm just gonna go over. I mean, it's not gonna be as long, because I know it's late for you guys, and I just want to get straight to the point. And if you have any questions, you can ask them. And then after, if you want me to look at a project in general, we can go over that as well. The first one I want to go over is Webiverse, and it's just gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about my thought process. If it's confusing or if you think something I do is wrong, you can ask a question. Let me know, and we'll figure something out through from there. But Webiverse, I called this project early on when it was minting, um, and then it sold out, and they were getting a bunch of volume. I'm sure many of you probably minted this or either bought it or saw it trending. Um, and they were getting a bunch of volume. They had dips. They went down to, this is a better screenshot. Wait, is this a better screenshot? Which one is it? Let me find it. I think it is. Let me pull it up real quick. They had dips down to like 0.35, zero point 0.4 multiple times. And when that happens, most of the time, I use that as a reference point as a good entry. Um, because usually what happens is um, those dips occur most of the time is because people panic when volume starts to slow down. And I would say 90% of the time, um, those dips happen because, sorry, I'm trying to find the screenshot, because people panic, and those are good entries for me. Because um, I value a project whenever it's minting and getting volume pretty high. I think it can hit a high floor price depending on the volume it has. So if you look at this chart right here, this was as soon as it minted out, it went down to like 0.22, I believe. And this is because everybody is just trying to take quick profits, right? This happens with majority of collections. This happens on mint outs. This happens on reveals. You can see here for Moody's. Moody's is on like a heavy downtrend right now, but this is when reveal happened here, and they dipped. So this happens on pretty much any project. Whenever it mints out, and then whenever reveal happens. Um, I need to find this screenshot because this is the best screenshot to show. 1 second, I thought I had it open. Here it is. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, this is the one I posted. This is a great example. This is exactly what I look for whenever when I see dips. So I wasn't looking at this mainly until these dips happened here. I usually like to look at a project and enter it during like a second or third dip, because the first one you really never know if that's a safe entry. This could have dipped here, maybe it had a bounce, but then it could have kept going down, right? And that's usually it. Just makes me it makes a safer entry for me. Seeing a second dip where it bounced off the same area here, zero point 0.4. So me seeing that again for the third time, um, I like that entry, because it gives me confidence that they're at zero point 0.4. It's a good support. There's buying pressure there. People want to buy at zero point 0.4. This has happened. It's happened three times now. Well, two times before, hit the third one. So here is when I entered. This is when I talked about it in the Discord. And then later on, if I could pull up the chart right here, I think it is, yep, right here. You can see this is where we caught it, bounced here, first time, second time, third time. This is where we talked about it. And the third time it held this area, and then it had, bigger legs up. Um, and people were able to sell for like zero point 0.8, zero point 0.4 ETH profit. So with dips, I classify dips as safe entries. You never can predict how a product's going to move whenever it's getting a bunch of volume. Um, Dips for me is just it's a safer entry. Looking at a chart and seeing it happen multiple times at a certain spot gives me the chance and gives me the idea to look at it as a better entry than um, probably getting in at zero point 0.5 here. Because imagine someone that got in at zero point 0.5 here and then it dipped to zero point 0.4 and then they panic, right? And then they list at zero point 0.4, but then 30 minutes to an hour later, I don't know how long this took, but it hit zero point 0.8. So, that's why dips happen. Dips happen because it dips, volume slows, and then people list, undercut, and do all that. So that's how I looked at Webiverse. I saw this dip at zero point 0.4, and then I saw it happen again. It bounced. I saw it happen again. So I was like, okay, this looks like a better entry for me to get into. And then it went to zero point 0.8. Um, Let me go ahead and look at the next one. This one happened more recently, so this is probably a better example. Uh, Let me pull up. So this is Moody's. And this is, yeah, that's good. So Moody's, I can't remember exactly what happened with Moody's. So they minted, I believe they minted out. The floor price was already above mint. So, it was guaranteed profit for people that minted. It was around like 0.08. So the floor price started out 0.08. It had dips. Let me see if I can pull up the chart for that one as well. Thought I already had it up. 1 second. Here it is. Oh wait, no, I think this is it. Oh no, it's not. My bad. Got it here. Here we go. All right, so this is a chart I posted from Moody's. I said potential entry around zero point 0.08 ETH, and the reason I said that is because they were on a downtrend right now towards zero point 0.08 ETH. They haven't hit it yet. They pretty much hit it. Um, and the reason I like this entry is because it hit zero point 0.08 ETH here. It held around 0.08 ETH here. This is also indicates whenever you see something consolidating for a long time and then breaking it, that's a good area for support. It most likely won't go beneath that whenever it has a lot of volume. It could go beneath that when volume dies, of course, throughout the next couple of days when people, leave the collection. But when it has a lot of volume, usually it tends to hold that area. So you see it was at like 0.075, I think this was, and then it broke that 0.08 ETH eventually. And as you see, it bounced here on a downtrend again, and it started to bounce here. So this is when I called it. Um, Again, same ideas from, I think I already closed it out. Same ideas go for Webiverse. When I saw it at 0.4 bounce two times, this already bounced, and then it started to bounce here at 0.08 ETH. I typically wait to actually see some sort of bounce. And the way you can do that is I recommend getting a tool. NFT Flip is a great tool. I think you can join their Discord and hit them up and see if you can get access. I don't know if they're giving out access just to people in general. I know they're doing it to groups. But the way you can see that is this is probably a good example to see. This one's getting volume right now. But you'll be able to see right here it says 25 listed in the last minute, and it'll also tell you how many are bought in the last minute. And you can see right here, the one about next to these items. This is how many pending transactions are on that item. So typically, I like to wait and see a good amount of pending transactions start to come up again and start to rise. I want to see more pending transactions than listings. And typically, when that happens, there's going to be some sort of uptrend, and that's what happened here. If I pull up the next chart, so this is when we called it right here, zero point 0.08 ETH. I started to see transactions coming in. I started to see more buyers coming in, and we started to see, slowly started to reverse and start going on an uptrend, and it really didn't stop. There was more dips on the way, but it went up to 0.15 ETH, and I think it dipped a couple times. Yeah, right here. I think this is when it first went up to 0.15. It dipped again to 0.08. Went back up to 0.15, dipped again to 0.08, back up again to 0.15, held that area, and then finally broke it. So 0.08 ETH was a very good entry, and you could have bought in, sold at 0.15 multiple times, bought in and held to 0.3. But then again, you never can predict how high these things can go. I just use dips to get a better entry. And also, I recommend if you can, you don't have to, but it is good to get probably more than two, three, four if you can, because I know a lot of people struggle with timing the tops on things, and they're frustrated whenever they sell too early. That used to happen to me a lot. It still does. Um, but whenever you get multiple, you could have bought in three at 0.08 ETH. You could have sold two at like 0.15 and held the last one. So, you know, this is not the right chart. Held the last one to like zero point 0.2, or it pumped to 0.37, but it's hard to time the top on those. So that's why I like to get multiple, is because, you're not really frustrated at the end of the day whenever you sold your only one and then it goes to, zero point 0.3 when you sold at 0.15. But that's how I looked at Moody's. I try to, show this on all my charts. Um, Whenever I get into a project, I try to circle it and show you what I'm looking at. So I hope that helps with that. The last one I want to look at is Aliens. I didn't call this one as like a dip to enter. I just called it, I said it was minting for free. I wish there was a better chart to look at because this one's kind of zoomed out, well, more than I wanted it to. But I'm just going to talk about what happened. So these were at zero point 0.2 ETH before public came. There's still like 5,000 left of supply that needed to be minted. So like I said earlier, whenever public mint happens, you can expect some sort of dip because people just like to take quick profits. And it was a free mint. So it went down to like zero point 0.2 to 0.06. Um, I believe that's what it went to. Yeah. It went down to 0.02. Wait, was this? Yeah. Went down to zero point 0.2 to like 0.1 area. And then it slowly rose up back to zero point 0.2, held zero point 0.2 for a while. And then after, wait, no, okay, this is when public happened. Sorry, this is when public happened. So public, it went down to 0.09, 0.08. And then as you can see, it rose all the way up to 0.87. So if can I zoom in? Is there a way to zoom in on this? Better. I don't think it's gonna give me a better one. I guess this is a little better. But yeah, this is when public happened. Sorry, it went down to 0.09, and then it rose all the way back up to 0.8. So in between that big rise up, that big leg up, I had multiple dips. It's really hard to see on this. Sorry, I wish I took a screenshot of it. But you see when it went to 0.24, back down to like 0.14 two times, like 0.14, 0.17. Let me see. Yeah, like I guess 0.14 both times. It's really hard to tell on this chart. Wish I had a screenshot for it, but this would be, another example of it dipped twice to that area. Uh, it dipped twice to a certain area. So the first time it dipped, I probably wouldn't have entered. The second time it dipped and I saw transactions coming through and I saw it rising again, I would probably enter there. So I probably would have entered around 0.14 to 0.17. Um, and I probably would have held to like 0.46 to be honest. Um, because it just shot straight up. This one was a little harder to predict the dips on because the volume on this was just nonstop, so there really wasn't that many dips. Another entry could have been that point 0.2 consolidation range before public happens. Um, a lot of times we see projects at a certain floor price before public happens, and they pass that after people undercut after public happens. So this happened, when the point 0.2 went to 0.08, but I mean, if you bought in at point 0.2, you're up. You would be up like 0.6 because it went to 0.8. So that's another risky entry, getting in at point 0.2, but it paid off. Um, there's some dips here that happened that I probably would have entered if I was looking at this project at the time. I was busy that day, so I really wasn't. But you saw, it held this point 0.5 range. This was a very, very solid range it held. So anything below dip to point 0.5, I probably would have bought into. It's not major profit, but you see here it was holding this point 0.5, pumped to like 0.6, had a dip all the way down to like 0.38, 0.4. That would have been a good entry because then it pumped to, 0.6 again. Happened here, zero point 0.4, back up to 0.55 here, zero point 0.4, back up to 0.56, 0.55 here as well. It held this 0.5 area. So you could exit at 0.64 as well. And the royalties on these, there's no royalties, I think. Yeah, only 2.5. So you wouldn't have to worry about, not making a lot of profit. You could have made like 0.1. So yeah, there's not too much to look at when it comes to aliens on this one because this graph isn't the best. These are probably the best examples of with Webaverse and what was the other one? Moody's. So yeah, no, I kind of explained that a little weird. That's just my thought process when I look at things. I look for these dips. I look for some sort of bounce, and I get in right when it's bouncing.
Uh,
And
Notice
yeah, yeah.
real quick, you can drag hold
Oh,
and it'll zoom into the diff
how do I do
into
it?
the graph.
Oh, no. Okay, I see what you mean.
Click hold and drag, and
Okay, I see what you mean.
it'll zoom into that area.
I did not know that. Thank you. Try that. So like right here.
It takes a second
Yeah.
to register. So hold it down on the left first, and then after you drag it, should hold on.
So like this, right? I think, yeah, like this, right? Kind of like that. Did that? I think this is right? Notice you can point it. How do you zoom? That's how you zoom. You just left click and you get that little like Windows blue screen, and then it zooms in like that.
Yep, it's like that.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Oh, let me go back to that because that'll give me a good. We see.
And then after you zoom, it's got a reset on it, so it'll reset the normal.
Got it. There we go. All right, so that's much better. Yeah, I'll show you Ledger as well. I think I did the same thing on Ledger, but there wasn't really dips. I entered that because consolidation, and I'll show you what I looked at with what I was looking at with Ledger. But this is for aliens. It's still it is a better view, but yeah, I mean, kind of shows the same thing I was looking at. You see it a little better here. Point 0.4, point 0.4. They dipped multiple times to point 0.4, and that would have been a good entry. And then they pumped to like point, I think it was 0.65 or point 0.7 before reveal. So you could have, held in and sold there because most of the times things do pump a little before reveal if it's hyped up. If it's not, then not as much. Um, but I think these are the best examples to look at, Webaverse and Moody's, because I think it's more clear um, on
Hey,
how I looked at things.
hey.
Yo, what's up, man? And if anyone has any questions, you can ask in chat. I'll look at Ledger too. Um, yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. Once you get the hang of it, you'll get the feeling of it, and you'll start to understand it more. Yeah, that's how I got, decent at it. You just look for these dips. Whenever you see something, start to gain traction, volume again, and you start to see that another leg up, that could be potential of a good entry. Were you confident in aliens pumping again at point 0.4? If so, what market were you looking at? Pending transactions. What about Zika? Yeah, I'll look at Zika Meta. So aliens, I didn't look at aliens too much when it was happening. So I didn't enter at point 0.4. I didn't like talk about it at point 0.4. But um, what were you saying? Were you confident aliens pumping again at point 0.4? So you're saying in general, like at any time it hit point 0.4? Are you saying at any time it hit point 0.4, was I confident it would like bounce back up? Yes. Is that what you're saying though? Like at any dip, at any time it hit point 0.4? Or is there like, are you talking about a certain time? Anytime. Yeah, okay. So at any time it hits point 0.4, I never enter, like if something's dipping, I'm not gonna enter it just because it's dipping, right? I'm gonna make sure it's on some sort of uptrend again after it dips. So let's say it was at point 0.4, it dipped to point 0.4, and then transactions start to come through again, right? Because people want to buy at that area. People think that's a good area to buy. Um, I look at pending transactions. That's like the main thing I look at. Charts really do help as well because like here, um, yeah, here, whenever you start seeing this uptrend, like right here, this is a sign of pending transactions as well, that more transactions are coming in. There's more buying pressure than selling, than listing. So I look at pending transactions. I never entered anything just because it's like dipping. I want to have some sort of confirmation that it's on an uptrend again. So maybe you don't enter right when it hits point 0.4. Maybe I enter when it's at like 0.42. You know what I mean? I did enter, where is it? I did enter, this was, which one was this? This was Moody's. I entered Moody's at like exactly when it hit point 0.8 ETH. And the reason because of that is because it held 0.08 ETH for a long time. So in my mind, whenever it dipped down to 0.08 ETH, um, I figured that a lot of people will want to buy there after it held that for a long, long time. Well, not, I guess not a long time, but for the majority of the time, it held that, like right here. Um, this was actually mine that I bought right here. I bought it for like 0.075. Do you do crypto volume too? I do not. Crypto, I'm more of a just like a hold. Sorry, point 0.4 was just a number I made. Yeah. Point 0.4 was a good entry for aliens. Of course, it was risky. You know, point 0.4 is a big investment. Um, I probably would have entered aliens if I was watching it. I probably would have entered uh after the mint out. You know, when it went down to 0.08, 0.1. That's probably the best entry there. Point 0.4 was just a solid entry because it dipped multiple times and it bounced up after those dips multiple times. So when it comes to dips, when I look at dips, I'm looking at like uh, past dips. It gives me an idea where things can go as well. That's also another thing I look at. Let me look at ledger. Does that answer your question though? So whenever I enter a dip, I'm looking at um, listings, and buying pressure. Do you typically look for multiple bounces as well? I do. Yeah, I do. It just gives me a safer, like here. This is me looking at a previous bounce. I didn't enter here. I wasn't even looking at the chart here at the time. I saw it bounce and it went to 0.06 and then it dipped again, right? I didn't enter here. And then I saw, listings started to come in again, volume died. So I entered here. I saw that it bounced here 2 times. So I was like, okay, that might be a good entry for me to um, enter. And it was. So this was Webiverse, by the way. So point 0.4 was a solid entry. Again, point 0.3 could have been a solid entry too, Um, this is just a way to use dips to make profit. You could have, if you were looking at this earlier, you could have gone in at point 0.3, but I wasn't. So um, that's why I entered at point 0.4. Ledger. So the thing with Ledger, it dipped some, but I mainly entered it because of consolidation. I'll talk about that as well. MB, what do you mean by MB? I probably know what you mean after you say it, but so with Ledger, this is more of like a long-term, like medium long-term project for me, and I called this at like point 0.4, and the reason because of that is one, anything under point 0.4, I think it was point 0.4. Was it point 0.4? I believe it was, yeah, it was like 0.45, 0.45 to 0.5. Because it had like the aftermath hype, and then you looking at the 30-second station charge for the volume tool to catch the yeah, I do. So like, I'll give you an example of what I look at. There's nothing really like trending right now. But I usually have like interval, 5 minute, and then I'm usually always on like the 1 hour to 4 hour because it captures it pretty well in the short time frame. Aliens are actually like pumping right now. Kind of went off like this 0.25. Um, but yeah, I had the interval on 5 minute and then span 4 hours because it captures it pretty well in the short time frame. The lowest is 15 minute, but that doesn't really give you a good idea. I guess it kind of does, but I don't know. I like seeing the whole chart so I can see what happened in the past. Dip lowest was 0.4-ish for yeah. So Ledger, it dipped to like 0.44-ish, I guess, and then it held this range for a while. This is what I was looking at entering. And the reason because of this, I knew Ledger was going to be able to get, big collabs, and they got one with Bricks. This was before Bricks happened. Bricks is a pretty solid project. They're not that big, but I know a lot of people have been trying to get whitelist for it. So, them being able to get that collab and get all Ledger holders whitelist for that project, that's why we saw, the pump. One of the reasons why we saw the pump up to like near point 0.8, 0.7 range. Um, so yeah, with consolidation, I'm mainly entering projects during consolidation to hold. Um, because that gives me a good idea that one, the people that are invested into the project, the people that have their eyes on the project, like that area to enter. People are undercutting. People are buying in the area, keeping the floor price steady. It just gives me a good idea of what people think about the project. Same thing I talked about a lot with Degen Tunes. Degen Tunes were holding like 0.4, 0.5, I think, as well. They're holding it for, I think they're holding it for a couple weeks, maybe a month. So I talked about them there, and as soon as they announced like a collab with a bunch of people. They had like Lil Baby buy, which is, I guess, is kind of crazy, but people see that they buy the project. So entering in at that project when it was consolidating at zero point 0.4, zero point 0.5, you were able to make profit at whenever it pumped to like 0.75, zero point 0.8. So consolidation, whenever you enter during consolidation, I'm more looking at that project to hold rather than a quick flip for the short term. Dips is what I look at for mainly short-term trades whenever I'm looking in for a dip to get in when something's dipping. Um, so yeah, that's my thought process behind Ledger. I just saw it holding this range for what was this, like 4 days, I guess, kind of 4 days, and then they announced that collab with Bricks, so you can expect a pump after it holding for that range for a couple days. Um, so that's how I look at consolidation. Hope that answers your question. If there's another project you want me to look at, I can look at in general, or I don't know, whatever. Um, yeah, no, it's kind of confusing. It's kind of hard. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes easier. What project caught your eyes lately? Either like projects that are out yet or not out, or what do you mean? To be honest, I'm more of a both. Okay. To be honest, mainly I haven't been like doing a bunch of. I mean, of course, I do project reports on projects that you guys suggest, like in the request channel. So those are the ones I've been like mainly focused on, because I've been spending most of my time on that. Um, but recently I haven't been looking at projects that aren't out yet. I mainly just focus on projects that are already out, like Chimpers. Um, Ledger was one of them. Someone requested Ledger, and I'm focused on projects that are gaining volume. So to be honest, I don't really have many projects I have my eyes on lately that I'm looking to get into. I'm more spending most of my time on this page right here. I literally always have this page open, usually on the 5 minute to 15 minute. Um, and then I'm looking at projects that you guys suggest in the suggest channel because I do project reports on those. So I'm not really focused on any product. I mean, I'm hyped for some of the big mints coming out, like Yin Yang and stuff like that, of course, but can't really predict how those are going to do yet. They should do well, but thoughts on how Tree Response is doing right now. I actually haven't looked at them. Let me look. I know they pumped. Um, what's it called? They pumped like a week ago after they released their game trailer. But I think, I mean, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I'm not telling you to go buy anything right now, but I think anything, around 1 ETH or near 1 ETH is a pretty solid buy for Treeverse as a long term, nothing, short term. I didn't expect them to, pump to, what was it, like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, whatever they did, whenever they released that. But I mean, some people are able to make profit on that. But anything below like 1 ETH near this point 0.8, point 0.9 range, I think is a good entry. I bought two of these at like, it was like 0.89, maybe like close to zero point 0.9, I think. Um, yeah, I think it's great as a long-term hold, of course, nothing short-term. But the game looks sick. I don't know if any of you guys have been looking at it or seen any of it, but it really does look sick. This is one of my favorite projects, by the way, Treeverse, as a whole, game-wise, because a lot of game projects aren't really a lot of people, I don't know, just game projects in general in the NFT space aren't really ready. I feel like, graphics don't look the best. Gameplay wise doesn't look good. But Treeverse, it looks amazing in my opinion. One of the few that look good. Also Gossamer. Yeah, the hype behind Gossamer, I think I'm saying that Seeds is kind of, I think, kind of dead in general. I mean, I never looked at it as a super long-term project. I took profit on majority of mine whenever they pumped to like zero point 0.7. Let me look at that. Ranga, I can't give you a solid answer on that because I haven't done too much research on it. All I know is there's a bunch of whales that really like the artist, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do well. I don't know when. Do you know when they're launching? I know they have the Ranga boxes out. But when are they launching the actual PFPs behind it? Not sure about reveal date. Okay, I might have to do more research and I'll give you a better answer on that. But well, yeah, with Gossamer Seeds, with them, I think they could have continued to do well if I know they had a second launch, which I'm pretty sure they made paid, right? I'm pretty sure they did, which wasn't the way to go. And there was like a super large collection as well, which, yeah. So I think that was one of the main reasons um, that messed this collection up. Also, over time, it is hard to keep a high floor price after pumping because, like I always say in most of the reports, is I focus on community. I think if they would have built a solid community and maybe not have charged that 0.15 ETH mint on their second collection, I think these could still, be high around zero point 0.3, zero point 0.4. But I did hear that their team wasn't, too familiar with like the Web3 space, so they probably didn't know better. Um, yeah, that's my opinion on why these kind of died out. Um, they didn't focus on the community at all, I saw. Um, and I think a majority of people bought in because, the rumors about the big stars that were involved in the show and then Epic Games being involved with the game. I think that was like the main reasons why this pumped. I think a lot of groups called that, so that's why many people bought in. They had potential though if they really focused on the community behind it and did more with that, but they didn't. That's why I think these didn't perform well. Don't have much faith at them at this point. Yeah, I haven't looked at them in a while. I've been out of this project. I mean, are they still like working on anything? I'm assuming they are, right? Etherjump. Um, Etherjump for me, whenever I called these out, whenever I called these out when they were minting at like 0.05, I said it was more of a, oh, this is not the right one. I said it was more of a short-term thing. Um, Nothing long-term. It could be long-term, but for me, seeing the game they had and seeing the type of market we were in, I liked it short-term because, we're in a bearish market. This game, it was fun. In the time of it coming out, nothing was happening. So, a bunch of whales that like these type of platform games got in. People saw that, minted out, and then they pumped like 0.2 something, 0.3. When it comes to these type of games, it's majority of the time it's short term for me. And that's what I said in my post as well. I like the short term because nothing was happening in the market, and it gave people something to do. Um, so yeah, I mean it's a dope project though. I really do like it. Shame that it's gone 0.04 again. Yeah, it was unique. You know, we didn't really have anything like this that's come out in a while. But that's why I think why it pumps, because it was a fun little game that people could play, build their own courses, people compete with each other. But I think that's just short term. Space moves fast, so dope project though. You think they'll come back? Cool Cats, somewhat I do. Um, what are they at? Let me look at their chart. Again, with these, like I said before, I'm not really focused on like one project in general. I'm kind of just watching volume and then, looking at project you guys request. But with Cool Cats, aren't they at like, pretty sure they dipped, right? Let's take them all to load. Pretty sure they're at, yeah, they dipped a good bit. I mean, this could possibly be a good entry if you like the project. I don't really know too much about what they're working on right now. I know they had their Cool Pets was pretty much kind of a disaster. Um, and then they had some new people join their team. Um, sitting at 3 full val, yeah. So I mean, this could be a good entry. Like I've said with multiple project like blue chips like this, I like to wait for it to hold a certain point for a while. Game idea was rough, so many delays. Yeah, that's what I heard. So like this area right here, you see it held. It kind of had a pump towards point or four, kind of. Yeah, towards four, like on June 16th. But if you were looking to get into Cool Cats, I would probably wait and be patient with it because this could keep dipping, right? It's just been going down um, since it hit that range. So I'll probably wait for it to see if it holds this like 2.2, 2.4 range for another week or so, just to be safe. And that's how I look at blue chips. I'd like to see if it holds a range for a while before getting in, or if it, has like like a huge dip for some reason. Like Azuki, for example. Azuki, had that drama with one of their founders being involved with rug pulls. Um, and I actually entered Azuki, not Azuki, but I entered Beans when they dipped like, I think it was zero point 0.4 or 0.5 because of that. Because I knew Azuki had like, I think Azuki has one of the greatest communities in space, even though one of the founders, I don't know about all of them, um, was involved with all that. Um, I don't think the what am I trying to say? I entered because of community. That's what I'm trying to say. Whenever they dipped down like zero point 0.4, zero point 0.5, this was for the beans, and then I started seeing volume come back in, so that's why I entered. Can't believe Zuki's still holding that floor. Yeah, I mean it's mainly because of community. I think, in my opinion, the team is good. They know how to execute things. You just back down, but everything's kind of down. Let me just show you where I entered. Um, but I think the community is great with Azuki, and I'll just show you. That's an example of a dip. And dips can happen because of, FUD, which can also be buying opportunities, but it's definitely riskier. Where is this? Actually, it's not going to show on this. I would have to use nerds because this was more than 60 days ago. But yeah, they dipped down to 0.5, and I saw them volume starting to come in again from like big whales and other people. So I bought in, and then they went to like 1.2. Um, so yeah, that's just another example. And if anyone else has any questions about a project, let me know. Or anything in general about what I just talked about. But I'll be sure also with, oh wait, I think someone typed in VC chat. Three landers, yeah, I'll look at three landers. Are you looking to get in three landers or are you just asking about the project? Thing with Three Landers, I really do like Three Landers. I just don't. I don't really know just like what happened with them. Um, I actually was uh in this project for a good bit. I know they had. I still think they have a solid community. You know, whenever I looked in their Discord, people, seemed happy with what the team was doing. People loved the art, but I also saw a bunch of FUD regarding the team, which I don't know why. I don't know if it's because like people expected more out of the team. I'm just really surprised these haven't held up. They've literally just been on a straight dip down. Um, so personally, I probably wouldn't get into them right now until I saw some sort of uptrend or if I saw them holding a certain range. Like point two, I guess they're kind of holding point two. They dipped down to point two here and then bounced up to like close to point 0.25. Um, but yeah, with three lenders, I am surprised that they're kind of this low. I know a lot of people thought they were going to hold, point 0.8, then they thought they were going to hold point 0.4. So I would just be patient with this, see what the community's thinking about the project, see if it holds this point 0.2. Actually, it's at like 0.18, but see if it holds this range for a while, see what the team is working on, see what the community is talking about before making any move on this type of project. Because three landers would be more of a hold, in my opinion, than anything. I wouldn't get into them expecting anything to happen in the next, day or two. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised to see them as well, but I'll just be patient with it and see what the community thinks and see if they hold that. That's just my opinion. Psychedelics Anonymous. Let me see. I know they had a pump recently due to what's that project's name? Izu, right? Pretty sure that's the name. Because don't they? Maybe it wasn't recently. What was the project that had a pump? Project am I thinking of? Oh no, I was thinking of Gajira. I think they had a pump because of I can't think of that one project that's coming out. Yin Yang. Are you looking to get into? Oh wait, I don't think he's in here anymore. I'll just answer it. Just you can watch the recording. Um, so yeah, with the PA, let me look. With this collection as well, there's not much volume, so it's hard to answer this question because I haven't done a bunch of research on PA. I don't know what they're about to release or anything. I know they have that Izu collection, but um, with PA, let's see, they dipped. I mean, anything below near 1 ETH seems like a solid entry as a hold. You can see like 60 days ago, these were like near 1 ETH. They pumped to like 2.5. They held like this 1.5 ETH range. So, I mean, yeah, now probably couldn't be a bad buy. They've been holding like near 1 ETH, a little below 1 ETH for a while, kind of on a downtrend now, though. Not sure why. I don't know if that's because they talked about something, they had a snapshot and it's over. I would probably do a research about that, why they might be dipping. Um, but if it's nothing major and they're just dipping because, the market's kind of bad, people are impatient, then this could be a good entry. Again, I would advise waiting a little bit, see if volume comes back in, see if it actually holds this range because it could dip maybe more to 0.75, 0.7. I doubt it. Um, yeah, that's my opinion on this. I'll just be patient, see why it's dipping because it is kind of weird that these are hitting point 0.8 right now. I don't know if it's because they announced something or what. Um, but yeah, that's my opinion about PA. If anyone else has any questions, let me know. What's more important? Oh wait, let me see. Oh wait, you guys had something. Your thoughts on EtherJump dip because of FUD, as I saw on Twitter. Cool Cats. I think Cool Cats can come back. But it's rough. Yeah, Three Landers tanked hard. What's more important, news of said project or volume, or what's affecting the project most in terms of floor price? What's more important, news of said project or volume? Um, I mean, with volume most of the time is created because of the news or hype or etc. I would say volume is more important to me because you can't predict if that news will you know pump a project, right? So I usually like to wait for some sort of volume, if that makes sense. Most of the times news will pump a project though. Like if there's any like what like with Gossamer sees with the Epic Games, big stars being a part of the project. That's just an example. Um, that news that caused people to FOMO in. You think 13 is buying opportunity? You think Moonbirds is buying opportunity post CCO for basically betting on term, more room to drop over the next few weeks? Yeah, I've said this in my past post. I would wait, and this goes for the bigger collections out there. I still think there's good opportunity with like hyped mints, free mints, and volume trading and like that. But when it comes to these big collections, I would probably be a little patient getting into them because NFTs move kind of how like the crypto market moves. If crypto's stagnant for a while, then NFTs tend to perform well. But if crypto's volatile for a long time, going up, going down, NFTs tend to not do as well. Um, so with Moonbirds, I would probably wait. I do think 13 ETH, long if you're thinking long term and you're bullish in the project long term, bullish in the space long term, 13 ETH could be, a great buy. But, you could get a better buy, maybe 9, 10 ETH if you just wait a couple weeks, maybe a month. Um, because the crypto space right now is very, very volatile. People don't know what's going to happen. Some people think we're going to have a huge crypto crash. Some people think we already hit the bottom. So I would wait for some sort of, verification that, Moomers are actually going to hold this level. Wait for some sort of volume. Patience is key. That's what I always, tell people, especially in these blue chip projects. I don't think 13 true about, but yeah, it is key in these big projects. But yeah, I would wait a little bit because you really never know what the crypto market will do. Because I don't even think when they hit like 11, that was the accepted offer. Yeah, they're at like an all-time low, or not all-time, but recently. Via FOMO, yeah, absolute, the best of us. Still happens to me sometimes. Patience is key. It is. It is. Um, but yeah, if you have any more questions or anyone at all, feel free to ask them. Pretty much wraps everything up. I want to talk about dips. It really is. It's confusing at first, but you'll get the hang of it. Especially you need it. I think having tools like this is you need to have if you're trying to trade volume, trade dips. It's very, very, very important because you can see the pending transactions, you see the live graph, see the uptrend happening. Um, Very, very important. Helps a lot. I didn't start doing any of this until I got NFT nerds. So, but yeah, with dips, if you see something dipping, I'll just paraphrase it. What's cost for NFT? The NFT flip is actually free. If you can try to hit them up on their Discord and be like, hey, can I get access? Want to test it? You can try. I'm in talks right now. I'm trying to get Magma pass holders. I don't know if it'll be a trial. I don't know if it'll be free for lifetime. But I'm trying to get something going for you guys because this tool is great. It's pretty much NFT nerds. Pretty much the same thing. It's faster for me, for my computer at least. Don't know if it's true or not. But yeah, dips. I'll just paraphrase and then we could probably end. Or if anyone has any questions, you just look for a bounce. Look for whenever something's dipping. Don't get in just because it's dipping. Get in at the moment you start seeing transactions start to come through. You can see that on the left here. You'll see pending transactions. Look for some sort of uptrend, like right here. You see they dipped at this area. They dipped at before. It started going to uptrend, so that could be a good sign to enter. Um, that's with dips. With consolidation, that's more of a medium to long-term hold. Whenever I see a project consolidating for a long time, and I expect them probably to make some sort of move, some sort of news, that's how I use consolidation. And consolidation gives me an idea that at a certain point that the holders are holding at this level. No one's really undercutting. People that are looking at the project look at this as a buying area. So, it helps get better entries. That's what both these are for. Dips and consolidation is it helps you get better entries, which leads to profit most of the time. And I'll make a post about this as well. I'll type it up. But if no one has any more questions, we can end here if you guys want, or if you do, gladly answer them. I know it's late for a lot of you. I think we're good. Neon, do you have a question, or you think we're good?
No, I think we're good, man. Your your information about dips has really kind of changed my perspective of entering a project, and I've used it a couple of times since you first talked about it.
Has it helped?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Just thinking about trading NFTs using volume, I've never really thought about it before.
Yeah.
Or I've thought about it, but I've never really known how to. So being able to look at a tool like Nerds or this one has kind of changed things for me. So I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no
One of the
problem.
more valuable pieces of advice.
Yeah, it does help. And I know a lot of people think, dips and, consolidation. I know a lot of people think short term, and, they think, they don't have the time to look at that, but it helps long term wise as well. With projects like, I guess Moonbirds is an example. If they're on a dip right now, but if they hold this 13 ETH area for next few weeks, maybe that could be a good sign to enter. A lot of people don't look at that; they just blindly buy because it's a blue chip. But I think it helps.
Yeah, I think we need to make Zad feel better. The team behind Moonbirds is great, dude. It'll go back up. I promise.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I really appreciate you coming by, man. This has been awesome.
Hey, no, I like doing these.
For sure. Maybe let's try the next one at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it'll be better.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming by. If you want to hang out and chat for a bit, more than welcome. I might need to leave, but
Yeah, it's getting
thanks,
late.
guys. Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate you, man.
Take care.
Yeah, take care.